Welcome to another episode of Thoughts Unplugged. Today we're going to talk about some deep shit. Got some topics that I've written down. A lot of bullshit's been going on in the world, and I don't know if I'm going to have a platform and speak, even though I don't really have any followership yet. But look, trust the process. But you got to believe it, because I believe in that shit. Manifestation is real. I tell y'all, it is. It's happening. I literally be doing that. I be thinking about some shit, and then it happens, and I'm like, damn, that shit is real. It is. I feel like your mind is just so powerful that when you really think about something and you really want it to happen, it happens. Whether it's good or bad. Like, you can really make yourself feel sick if you really want to feel sick. It's real. Fuck, it's real. Well, no, I'm not for that shit, bro. Because they don't know what love is, man. Like, the shit that's going on right now, with the Palestine and Israel and my country, Iran, and all that shit. And be quiet about it, man. Because I feel like if you're quiet and you're like taking that so-called neutral position on it, then you're part of the problem, aren't you? I feel like if we don't speak up, if we don't communicate, if we don't talk about it, then we can never move past it. Then we can never grow from it. Growth is pain. Growth is being uncomfortable. And growth doesn't just appear. You got to work towards it. You got to be open to talk about it and be open to share your opinion and not base it on the opinions of, fucking A, B, and C and shit. We got to learn to dissect our own brain. See, I came from a country that, the kids there, they don't even have the freedom to believe in things because from birth, they are conditioned to a certain religion, to a certain faith, to a certain way to act. And we all are conditioned. Every society has its own, conditions, cycles, and behaviors that everyone possesses in those societies, right? And imagine you're born in a country, right, where tyranny exists, and boom, you can't believe in shit that, you can't believe in it, but you can't be open-minded. Like, you can't share it with others because they'll kill you. So the point is, it's important to talk about this stuff because if people don't know, your upbringing, if people don't know the environment you grew up in and the society that you were part of and what type of conditioned behavior has been implemented in you, then we won't know what the fuck is going on with you. Like people say all the time, oh, well, you don't understand me. Well, of course, you got to share what you want us to understand, right? You can't just expect people to know what is happening without you explaining to them, without you taking them through your journey. That's why I talk about this so much, because we forget to do that sometimes, and we have expectations. All of us have expectations, of others, of ourselves, and we are attached to things. We're attached to our expectations. We're attached to these materials things, but none of that shit matters. And we're going to come back to that because I really want to touch on it, but I don't want to skip over the whole thing that I was yapping before, the whole thing going on in the world right now with Israel and all that. Like, you really have to put yourself on the right side of the history here. You know what I mean? This shit ain't new. I don't think it is, because if you read history, well, then you can see that it's been happening for ages. I mean, we've been at war ever since fucking ancient Greeks and before that. I mean, humans have been existing in 300,000 years, dude. And we have not been able to get along with each other ever since then. Like, these wars have existed for fucking years and centuries and decades and whatever. But we just don't know how to get along, I sometimes question if by nature we are just crazy like that, like violent and so hungry for power, And there's a good quote from, I think it's Jimi Hendrix who said that. He said, as long as there is more love for power than power for love, this world will not know peace. Because we love power more than we love the power of love. And I don't know. Like, seriously, you go back to history and this shit's been like this for ages. You know, you start reading, oh, well, you know, humans back then didn't get along. They had fucking barbarians who had this religion, and then Christianity kind of came, and they, you know, the Romans try to get rid of all the barbarians because they're like, oh, they're fucking, you know, infidels or non-believers and all that shit. And these type of wars have existed because people just did not know how to live in harmony and peace. It was always about being right or wrong and not understanding each other. You see how we just came back to a whole loop about if you don't share your journey and if we're not open to talk about it, then we can't grow. We haven't. And I think the reason we haven't is because we are not talking about that shit. We're not. We're just kind of letting it, you know, we disagree with each other and like, fuck you, I'm going to kill you now. Or start a war if I'm powerful enough, right? That's what the fuck we've been doing. So it's important to talk about shit. And what's going on right now is like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Oh, I don't want to give my opinion about that shit. You know, like, you think both sides are wrong? I'm sure. I mean, okay, yeah, I'm here to listen to it, though. I'm not saying, you know, look, Israel, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I really don't. Because I don't know how much you can trust the media anymore nowadays. And everyone will have their own biases, whether you're a fucking Democrat, whether you're a conservative, whatever your political views are, there are biases within it. And you have to be true to yourself. And you cannot believe everything you're seeing, right? Because you'd be lying to yourself. I mean, media. You ever thought about media? Simply just news channels. Why do they always report shit that's tragic, drama, horrible, disasters? Because it catches fucking attention, doesn't it? It gets your views. All of ours. I'm guilty of it. We all guilty of it. But they never, like, rarely, like, you'll wake up at 6 a.m. and the fucking news channel, a local firefighter helps a fucking kitty out of the... Like, that shit don't happen. You know, it's silly, but they don't report good shit. Rarely, unless it's, like, sports-related. Some fucking athlete scored 120. And I love sports. I box. I play soccer. It's not about that sports aren't good, but it's like they never, like, you know, cover anything like happy. Hey, this guy, like, went and donated this. I don't know. Just silly shit. But, like, the drama, the wars, you know, all of that buys views. So, like, you can't be biased about your opinion when it comes to, you know, these type of media. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how much of this media shit is true. How much of it is just bullshit and not really happening. But what I do know is there's no love in any of this from neither side, you know, from anyone. Like, it just feels like the world just wants to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. Someone got to stop at some point, right? Like, I don't know. But I do support peace. And right now it doesn't look like Israel is on the side of peace. Attacking Iran, and not to be biased because I'm from Iran, but I mean, I don't know what they expected. You know, it's like you hit a fucking snake and then the snake bites you and you cry for help. That's what it seems like to me. And I can't support that. I cannot stand behind that. And that has nothing to do with my political views or beliefs. This is just the truth that I'm seeing. That's what happened. And you cannot make anything else out of it. Forget that Iran has a tyrannical government. I'm against the regime. I don't support it. But I'm also not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, like, fuck the regime. Like, war is the answer. Because when has that ever resolved? Like, I mean, come on. How many times have we tried in this country alone to overthrow a tyrannical government and we failed? It's not the answer, man. Only innocent people are dying. But we got to be awake, you know. We got to be on the right side of the history here. It's sad to see the shit that's going on in my country. Shit. I was born in Iran, grew up in Ukraine, both of my countries. I'm seeing war in both of my countries. I haven't been back in Ukraine since 2019, ever since the war started. I can't even go back to Iran, and that's a whole different episode on its own that we're going to cover at some point. But it's just we are so confused about what love is. And when I say we, I mean everyone. Everyone. Myself. The whole world. I mean, look at it. Look what's going on. And it's always been like this, but we just didn't have people talking about it. Maybe some philosophers. Motherfuckers were like, oh yeah, like we should. I don't know. We even confuse love and a relationship. You know? My past relationship taught me a lot about that stuff. I used to think love was just, being with that person no matter what. Like, I had so much trauma that I carried. And it's like, man, if I go do this without this person, they're going to get upset with me because they weren't involved in it. So I wasn't allowed to, go do fun shit. Later, I was young. 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever. And later I was like, wait, that's not love at all. That's control. Right? Because if you really love someone, you want them to have the best. You want them to enjoy their life. You want them to enjoy every second. That's true love. At least for my definition of love is caring. And when you don't, engage in those type of activities, when you find yourself acting out of jealousy, insecurity, or, you're in your head about something and you project, whether it's past trauma, because a lot of us carry our past trauma into existing relationships and we expect the other person to heal us. Well, love isn't about healing. Love is about maybe healing yourself. That way you can learn to love others. But if you expect to get into a relationship for someone else to heal you, well, I'm here to tell you that that's not happening. You're only going to disappoint yourself and you're going to be upset, and then you're going to continuously project onto that other person. You're going to eventually cause, a toxicity that could have been prevented if you learn to love yourself before you moved into a next relationship. And that's what I had to do. I knew for a fact that after that relationship I was in, I couldn't. I had to learn to love myself, because love isn't selfish. When love becomes selfish, meaning we act based on our own desires only, and we don't care about our significant other in that moment because our feelings are hurt, well, we don't love that person. We love our own desires. And that's important to understand, because love is unconditional. There's no condition in love, right? You can't love someone in a condition that they do something. You either love someone or you don't, and you got to be honest with yourself about that. Love is unconditional. Love is an attachment. We confuse love with attachment all the time. By we, I mean myself. Did that for years. I was attached to things that I thought I loved, whether it was material, whether it was a person. Even we can be attached to our thoughts. A single thought of, I'm not good enough. You can be attached to that thought and base your whole life on it. There's so many people that are doing that right now, today. But that's not true. And we got to let those attachments go, because then you'll truly start loving things for what they are and not just because they belong to you. Because love is in ownership. Love is in control. And we confuse control with connection all the time. All the time. And we got to let that shit go. Because, I don't know, it's just sad sometimes to see, I see some couples and I see my own past in it, and I'm like, damn, you can't even help them, because people will come to realization on their own, or they won't. But it's so rare to try to change someone's mind. Even me right now talking to you guys, and you listen to this shit, but doesn't mean it resonates immediately. At least it takes time. But as long as I guess you're open-minded to it, then you can do whatever. You put your head to nah. This is serious though. You gotta love and not be so attached, and it's important. I was attached to a lot of things. Shit, we moved we moved from Iran to Ukraine, you know, and I was attached to things that I had in Iran. You know, I played soccer there in Iran. I started making friends. I was, you know, 7 years old, whatever. Started making friends there. So then we move, and it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, fuck. So we are conditioned to that, you know? Like, the point I'm making is we're conditioned to be attached to things from ever since we're born. Because, you know, you're born, your parents give you they give you this clothes, they give you a pacifier, they give you you know, all of that shit that you eventually build attachment to, and you're like, fuck, like, you don't know this because you're a fucking baby, but hey, your brain, shit, I don't have my pacifier, I'm gonna start crying. So we are conditioned to that. The other day I was talking to one of my buddies, and these are like some crazy thoughts that I be having. I was at the gym, boxing actually, and then I was like every animal possesses some sort of survival skill, something that gives them an advantage in surviving in a wild, right? You have like the wolves who have learned this pack mentality over time and learn to hunt together, live together, they're organized, man. You got the alpha leading the pack, you got the sick wolves in the middle, and you know, the weakest ones kind of lingering towards the back, and then you got the alpha's actually in the back leading, beta's in the front. It's weird, but they got a structure, and they got, you know, fur to where it keeps them warm. They know how to hunt, you know, they got those instincts, and they just are born and kind of know that shit because they've been evolution taking place. What is one thing that gives us advantage to survive? Because right now, yeah, you're born, you have all of this fucking convenience. You go and turn a faucet on and boom, water comes out, and you got toilet fucking flush, and you can Uber Eats almost anything. But what if when you're born, it's just poof, you're there butt naked in the middle of, there's nothing, there's no buildings, there's none of that shit exists. You're a prehistoric human, just poof, you appear butt naked. No weapons, no clothes. You don't even know what the fuck clothes are. What are you doing? What are you using? The only thing humans have been given advantage to is our minds, is our brain, ability to problem solve and do critical thinking. This is how we've grown. And that's what sets us apart from all the other animals, really. I don't know where I was going with this, but those are the thoughts that I be having. And I'm like, man, like I guess what I'm going with this is we have the capability to be that smart, that intelligent, do everything that we've done in a short amount of time. Like 300 years ago, you tell someone that, you know, you're in a toilet and you flush that shit and you got a faucet and all that, and you could Uber Eats almost. 100 years ago, you would tell fucking people that shit. They would be like, what? So we've grown exponentially, like crazy how fast we've grown. And it's because of our ability to be able to critical think and problem solve. You know, you're born, boom, your brain, it starts learning things, starts getting conditioned to things. So now in the society that we're born today, what are we fucking getting conditioned to? Not how to make clothes and, you know, understand how to farm and all that shit that your prehistoric humans did in order to survive. No, we're fucking learning how to get on YouTube and do the shit I'm doing right now. That's what we're doing. I'm guilty of it. We all guilty of it. I'm trying to uncondition myself with a lot of the things that I've been, you know, attached to, because attachments cause suffering. Thank you for coming to this episode. We're going to be talking about more shit. I just want to say, before you know, give your opinion about something or decide to disagree with someone just to disagree, or you want to get angry at something, just take a minute, take a deep breath, question your own thoughts, dissect it, and then think about where you stand then. Thank you for coming listening to this podcast. And as always, stay tuned for the next episode. I'm out.